But look, we talked about this issue yesterday. I've been thinking about it all day. It is entirely consistent and reasonable to believe that Donald Trump brought this whole ordeal on himself, that he's lying about Stormy Daniels, and also that this is a garbage political prosecution if they're going to pursue it. The feds had the same facts. They made a prudential judgment not to go after Trump on this. And for an elected Democrat, deep blue city DA to make a decision to go for this, like, bank shot prosecution using this legal theory that's unproven and untested. If you're going to prosecute a former president of the United States and potentially arrest the guy and mugshots and the whole thing, and you want to indict him for a crime, this is not the way to do it. And I think a lot of Americans would see this as nakedly cynical and political, because it would be nakedly cynical and political.
I think you bring up a really good point here, because there's a lot going on here. You have the merits of the case itself, and then you have the motivation, which are very separate. And I think Donald Trump has made it very clear how he feels. Mark Lynn was on Fox and Friends, also talking about the dangers of people losing faith in the law in general. Let's take a listen.
People are losing faith in the law because the Democrat Party, Democrat prosecutors in Manhattan, a Soros prosecutor, wants them to lose faith in the law. Their whole goal is to destroy the civil society and the morality that undergirds it. That is the mission of the Democrat Party. How many times have they gone after this man, Donald Trump? What exactly has he done to deserve this? Why are they studying his life like they're studying an archaeological site? Why are they looking for novel legal theories to go after the man? Why are they trying to turn a law upside down, which is what they're trying to do?
And, Julie, he makes a very good point here, because whether you go to the impeachments and then you go to what we've uncovered about January 6th from Tucker Carlson, and then you move, of course, we talked about the raid on Mar-a-Lago, there is a reasonable feeling of American people that the Department of Justice, as well as the justice system as a whole, is going after a political enemy. And when that perception is reality for so many Americans, I wonder what they can do to undo that.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, the New York Times, citing sources, is basically reporting that he is essentially going to be charged with a misdemeanor at the very most for basically covering up, and providing falsified business records. In order to elevate that to a felony, you have to prove that he was trying to cover up a second crime. So what are they saying here? They're saying that $130,000 was actually money that was used, which would then violate campaign finance laws, which is a very hard fact to prove. That is very difficult to prove. You also have to look at Bragg and wonder what his motivation is. Now, is he using federal money to do this investigation? Because that would be tampering with an election. Which election? The 2024 presidential election. And is he getting messaging from Washington, D.C., as many in Washington have accused that perhaps Biden is behind this, because Biden has something to gain if, in fact, the president is indicted, because he is his biggest enemy. It's his biggest challenger when it comes to the presidential election in 2024. So where is the double standard to be held? Who is held accountable for that double standard? As far as, if you're going to talk election fraud, and if you're going to talk about election meddling, what is this? What are they doing here? What are we seeing?
Well, and I want to turn to you, Jimmy, on this, because Donald Trump, as we're used to from Donald Trump, he's kind of going scorched earth on Truth Social, right? He's calling out the reverse racist DA Alvin Bragg. Yesterday he talked about crime is through the roof and they're going after me. Mark Levin said similarly, we've got all these problems in this country, and it seems to be conservatives, and namely conservatives with the last name Trump, that are being targeted. But strategically, for Trump to go on Truth Social and first of all say, I might be arrested on Tuesday, and then say everything that he has said, strategically, is that going to help him or hurt him?
Well, I definitely think it's fired up his base if that was the goal. In terms of the accusatory posture towards Biden, I'm not willing to go as far as to say Biden is involved in this. I think Biden thinks Alvin has two brothers named Simon and Theodore, and they're chipmunks. I don't give him credit for being that senior. But this is my problem, and I said this yesterday, and I'll come back to it again today. In the 246-year history of this country, we have never met with the gravity of an elected president
president, current or former, in handcuffs. This is really heavy stuff, and to be doing it over the equivalent of a parking ticket, because that's what this is. This is not he was selling classified information as the accusation. This was not he colluded with Russia. Okay, this is he silenced a stripper, and this all hinges on them.
Which is hush money, which, by the way, is not illegal.
Not illegal.
I mean, NDAs happen every day.
But again, when you look out to the rest of the world, and the rest of the world now sees an American president in handcuffs. Okay, we go from the shiny city on a hill to a Real Housewives episode. It's Banana Republic
We're already
stuff.
there.
No, we're way past it.
We're
and,
like in
and the only
season
thing I would
20.
add is Guy made the point earlier. This is it's naked partisanship by Alvin Bragg, because this is a one-party town. He's failing it by every sense of the word when it comes to crime. And when you hide behind no one is above the law, oh really?
Right.
Tell that to the
Except for
thousands
anyone
of guys
who-
roaming free right now with
shoots or
violent
sells
criminal
drugs.
records.
In 2022, he reduced 52% of felonies to misdemeanors, so we know his record. But, Guy, I want to know this. Come Tuesday, Donald Trump isn't arrested. Then what?
Then we wait. Because I don't think Bragg's office is going on Trump's timeline. We're not exactly sure where he came up with the Tuesday thing. He said there was a report in NBC. There have been numerous reports and pushing back on that timeline. As we mentioned yesterday, it looks like Bragg's office is sort of like leading the breadcrumbs up to an indictment, but the actual timetable for that is a mystery. And I do think ultimately it redounds to Trump's at least immediate political benefit, because there will be a rally around the flag effect like there was with the raid at Mar-a-Lago.
Even if he's not arrested, even if it's not this big, grandiose thing that he's warning about, do you think that the wagons still circle around Donald Trump?
I mean, if he never gets indicted, then there isn't that catalyzing moment necessarily. But they could then say, his hardcore supporters, look, we teamed up and we fought back and he went on offense and he scared him off, right? So he can sort of play this any way he wants. The question is, does it have staying power? Does it have lasting power? And does this end up being a net benefit to him longer term? That very much remains to be seen.
I think he benefits from this in a way, and I think Democrats benefit from this in a way, but then it's where are the American people in all of this? And that's what we really want to know, and that's what we really should be focused on. But come Tuesday, all eyes are going to be on Donald Trump for sure, because he made some big promises, and so we'll have to wait and see.